Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
Hi, good everyone. It's Phil Tarrant here. Thanks for joining us on the show today. In the studio, Gavin Kemp, and we had a quick chat before come on air. And Gavin's been listening to the podcast now for about 18 months or so, you said, so a little while. I'm going to hand it over to you. You can run the show today.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks
Go
very
for
much.
it. So you're a property investor, Gavin?
Property investor.
Okay.
Myself and my fiancé.
Yeah.
Only been in the property market since late 2016.
Okay.
So since then, we bought 5, sold 2, so left with 3.
Okay.
Had a bit of an interesting ride with, where it's been. So we started off really, we were only together a short term time together, and decided that we both had good incomes, both work in the city. Decided that we need to buy property, but didn't really have a strategy of what we were going to do. So
this is early in your relationship.
Yeah.
Like how early?
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, we weren't even living together either. So.
Wow. There we go.
But we both had the sort of same idea that we need to start investing, putting our money and stop spending it and going out and holidays, and as you do.
So you're still together?
Still together.
That's
Yeah,
good
just
thing.
got engaged actually.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much.
there you
So
go.
planning the wedding now, which is the fun part.
Hopefully you've got plenty of equity you can draw down in your properties to pay for it.
I'm just
gotta
just
work
come
that
back
out.
from Europe,
Oh,
so
yeah,
now
yeah.
I've got a plan to go back again. So that's going to be interesting. So we rushed. We did some research on some areas, but we didn't really have a strategy about what type of property we wanted and how it was going to get there. We were just researching areas of potential growth, and we come across Port Macquarie.
Okay.
And so this was sort of late 2016. Anyway, we went up there, had a nosy around for the weekend, and there's lots of infrastructure growth going up there, and a lot of investment into the universities and the medical research and so on. So we had a guide taking us around. Funny enough, the guide was the guy selling us the properties as well.
Oh, was he? Oh, there you go.
So
Isn't that fortunate?
yeah. You realise afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, at the end of the day, everyone's got an angle for what they do. But we did put a deposit down on a off the plan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
On that weekend.
Well, I think once we come back and made some decisions, then we put it, but not long after.
Yeah.
Yeah, not long
Okay.
after. But it was in a good area, just near Lighthouse Beach. There was very little land. It was a small motel that had been sold to developers, and I think there was about 30 townhouses going on there. So it was good little area, low vacancy rates around there, so on. So we didn't think too much about it. Then we purchased a property in Queensland.
Okay.
In Loganley.
Yep.
Yeah, which was a little 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, just across the road from the hospital there.
Yeah.
Kept that, and then we had some issues with tenants, and then because we got it tenanted pretty quickly, and then we purchased another one about a month or 2 later in Raceview in Ipswich.
Okay.
So we kept that, and then we started to sort of, I don't know, we were a bit still wet behind the ears, and sort of checking valuations every couple of months, and I don't know. It was a funny situation that we were in. We started getting involved in sort of spending money on education.
Okay, like around property investment.
Yeah. So
okay.
we wanted to get a bit of a strategy because we just felt we're both not very strong on the numbers side. We weren't really able to get our head around the basics that, I feel that's simple now, but now I know. So we started to look around, read books, and spoke to multiple property strategists, and, and even like the people like the Michael Yardneys and the Chris Grays of the world. And I like the ideas, and you can't knock what they do because they're all successful, but it wasn't really, I don't know, I just had a bit of a hunger to be more involved in property. I didn't really want to buy just one blue chip property, wait another year, see how it's done, buy another one, the set and forget strategy.
Yeah.
And then I went to Steve McKnight's presentation in the city. I think it was his last one he was doing in Sydney. I just liked the way that what he's done, and to actually get involved in property and actually become a bit of a property wheeler dealer, I guess. Buy under market value properties, add equity to them, flip them on, keep some, use the equity to purchase the next one, so on. So get more involved in property. So I signed up to do the apprenticeship. From the back of that, we then decided to sell Loganley and Ipswich just because they were actually going backwards, I think, slightly.
Okay.
They had no room to manufacture any equity in. We were having issues with the tenants in Loganley, so we made a decision to stick them on the market. Fortunately enough, they were sold within sort of 4 weeks of being on the market.
Okay.
So, that was interesting.
Did you make your money back?
No.
Okay.
I think we sold just over the asking price, but obviously with the buying costs, we made a loss. So,
okay.
But it was a good education. Expensive.
So, if you held onto those properties, would they still be performing? Would they be performing better, or you just would have made a loss on them if you sold them now?
I haven't looked, to be honest with you. I don't like to tease myself too much.
So you still got this place in Port Macquarie?
Yeah, still got the place in Port Macquarie.
How's that going?
It seems to be going okay.
Yeah.
I haven't had it valued, but going back to the Port Macquarie one, and this is probably why I wouldn't go with off the plan again. It's simply we put the deposit down late 2016. I think it was October, and then it was due to settle June. Got pushed back. August, September, and then lo and behold, settles right at Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had a bit of an issue getting tenants in, so we probably had that vacant for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Did it value up okay when it?
Yeah,
when
no dramas with the valuation. I've looked on, we look on through the sort of core logic and everything like that, and through Westpac that we've got the loan with on that bank, and they value it up at, they give you a price range. So it's sort of sitting around the sort of 520 mark they're saying at the moment. So
yeah,
but it's that for me is going to be a set and forget property because there's not a lot we can do with it. You can't manufacture any equity, so we'll just keep that. It's gearing about 4.8%, so it's slightly negatively geared by the time you throw in all the strata costs and everything like that. So that will be something we'll just use for, I guess, some tax benefits on that one.
Yeah.
But the strategy moving forward now is to buy cash flow positive properties in good up and coming areas that we can manufacture, getting them under market value, and then being able to add some value to.
So this is your strategy now, which you realised after doing some education.
Yes.
How much, if you don't mind, did you spend on your property education?
So far, I probably spent between 25 and 30 grand, I would say. Because I signed up for the Steve McKnight one, and obviously I've been paying to go to some seminars for different presenters. But I also got involved with the property development success. I think you've had Jason Byron on here as well. And I like that. I mean, the property, it's just the passion for the property and getting involved in, developments and deals. And I think that was really what I could. So I get involved in the community on there. I do go to some of the meetups. Yeah. And it's just good education. So it's helping me now to make better decisions on properties that we're going to be able to manufacture some equity in.
And you use the term, and I don't know, maybe whether you meant this or not, but you said so far you've spent 25 to 30 grand in.
Yep.
And so far, so that means that you're going to spend some more money on this, on educating. Like what more do you need, do you think, in terms of outlaying cash to get educated on being a better property investor?
Nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
But
when the Smart Property Investment Show is free, it doesn't cost you anything.
But I've made some good contacts through this show.
Yeah.
And it's, it has some of the things that you think they go through one ear and out the other, you listen to, and maybe you don't actually follow that practice. But then when you've come to an issue similar to that, then you listen back at some of the podcasts, you're like, oh yeah, that's
what that is.
Yeah, that's what that is. So we've made some mistakes that have cost us a few dollars, but I think now it's getting that strategy right is where we do. So we've got a goal at the moment of where we want to get to.
Okay.
And we're just following the path of that plan now. We're back on track, and we're ready to go again.
And we'll touch on that in a sec, but before we go there, Gavin. So there's a couple of things here. One is that you're paying essentially for education around property, and then you'll go away and do it yourself rather than going, I'm too busy, I couldn't be bothered, or I don't have the skills or whatever, and I'll pay someone else to do it for me, i.e. using a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
So you've chosen the path of educating yourself to empower yourself to go and buy property yourself, not using a buyer's agent. You go and do it yourself.
Well, yeah, I have used buyer's agents.
Okay, you have done. So it's a bit of a hybrid. It's a bit mixed here, but it sounds like you're actually now starting to crystallise where you're heading, and after, to your point, probably a couple of failed or misfired ventures, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the reason to flip those properties was to not have them being an anchor on us.
Yeah.
So we got the offers for them. We weighed up we could probably take 3 steps forward rather than the 1 step forward with holding on to the property. So we got the cash back out again. We reinvested.
And how much of that though was because of sentiment? And how much of it was because you crunched the numbers really hard and did all the sort of maths behind it? Was it a bit of both?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. A bit of both, really.
And out of you and your partner, who's sort of the dominant force in your property relationship?
I'm the driver.
Yeah.
Tamron, she's more she'll have the negative views.
Okay.
So it's good that
she'll blame you when everything goes wrong.
Or a big tut or something like that. But no, in all seriousness, no. Tam scrutinises me over everything.
Okay.
So that's good. It keeps me in check. But now I'm able to. I've got our checklist. When I had to do a good feasibility study on a property, from what I'm learning, we've got a strategy, and that when I find somewhere or with the buyer's agent brings us something and the numbers make sense, I put that to Tam and see what.
So you're using a buyer's agent now to help you buy stuff. Yep. Okay. So but now you're able to be a much more engaged participant as part of that process because you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you challenge your buyer's agent.
That's right, very much so. So
who's your buyer's agent?
So I've used 2 so far.
Okay.
So currently I'm working with Paul Glossop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Glossop. Yeah. He was on the show recently.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we nearly had a purchase over the line with Paul.
Okay.
But the valuer came in, and the way the property was up in Redcliffe was structured, valuer deemed it as a commercial property.
Okay.
So then at the last minute after
very different
weeks
financing.
and those, because it was hard because the owner was doing the selling as well. So it was back and forth, and it was going on for ages. And then right at the day of settlement, the bank decides to send the valuer out, which is interesting. The valuer comes back and said the way it's structured, it needs to be a commercial property, so we needed to get it as a commercial loan. So all of a sudden, the bank are asking for 40%.
Was it a commercial property? What was it?
It was a 4-bedroom house that was split into apartments, but they were all under one title.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but it was a good spot, right by the beach in Redcliffe. Good little area.
Okay. I didn't know Paul was your buyer's agent, so how have you found him? He's all right.
Good guy,
yeah.
It's good to get on with. I think I might have cheesed him off a little bit.
He deserves to be cheesed off.
Well, I'll tell you why, because, and you probably listen to this and maybe laugh or maybe not, but...
No, he does listen to the show, and when he is on the show, we get a lot of different buyer's agents on the show, and Paul being one of them, he's quite popular, his views. So, but anyway, how did you cheese him off?
Well, so the last 2 properties we settled on recently, I actually sourced myself.
Okay.
And that was just doing some networking, with the agents in the local area. Okay. And this one property came up and did the numbers. It was on 1,100 square block, a corner block. It had a 2-bedroom little annex house on the apartment on the side of it.
Okay.
Yield was about 7.5%.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good buy. The area seems to, it's not going to grow your sort of 20, 30, 40%, but it's had some good growth over the last sort of couple of years. And so, I thought, we'll make a purchase on that. And then lo and behold, the agent came back with another property with a deal that fell through in finance.
Okay.
And it was just about 5 k's north of there, just north on Launceston, right on Invermay Road there.
Okay.
And it's right near the new student campus that's going up, and the property was let out to students, and it was yielding about 12%.
Okay.
So sort of did the numbers and weighed up the risk and looked into what it is to let it out to students and so on, and I thought, well, make an offer and see what happens, and they accepted. So I ended up buying 2 in a very short space of time.
Okay.
But then I had to tell Paul, because he was on the search for us after the other deal fell through, that...
You're out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Good buyer's agents will go, they understand. To be fair, buyer's agents like to work with people who are highly engaged in property and passionate about property because, that means they're connected in. So how many properties now in your portfolio? 3. 3. Okay. So, and over time you've sold 2. So you've had 5, sold 2. 1 in Port Macquarie, 1 in Hobart, was it, or Long? Sorry.
So both. So the ones that currently we've got, they're both in Launceston,
okay,
and 1 in Port Macquarie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the stuff down in Tassie is doing pretty well.
Well, we only settled on one in June and one in July. So, yeah, one's only 3 weeks
Jury's
old. We
still
haven't even
out.
got it tenanted yet. So, we're doing a bit of work on there just to touch it up a bit and get some tenants in. So, yeah. But the other one, the Invermay one is, that's I've had a couple of receipts from the property management firm, and yeah, I like the yield. So
you're still relatively new to this, but you've got a bit of scar tissue already. If you go back in time to when you started looking at investing in property to where you are today, what would be the one thing you tell yourself to not do or do differently?
Education first.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So educate yourself before you start doing
Educate
it.
first, build the foundations, get the right team in place, get the right structures in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, all those things that it's easy to say now, but 100% if I was going to go back and do it again and, I could have that in front of me, then I would follow that. For some reason, I seem to like to get the scar tissue and then learn from there, but
whatever works for you. And then sort of fast forward a couple of years then when you listen back to this podcast, and you're probably going to think you're really green and you didn't know what you're talking about now, then what's going to make you a better property investor? When you reflect back on where you are today in 2 years' time, what are you going to be saying, do you reckon?
That's a good one. Hopefully, I'll be nearing my target in the sort of next couple of years where we want to get to. But I think, as you said, I'll look back at then and say, "Oh, you didn't know anything then," and hopefully then, and I'd be, where I need to be.
Yeah.
I can't really give you the right answer to say because I don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
No, I don't know. Yeah. That's right.
Which is okay.
The path that we're going, every day is a school day, as they say. So, and I'm actually loving it, and the goal now is the drive is where we want to get to then start being able to move away from our full-time jobs to focus more on
let's
property.
let's have a talk about that. And so this is the goal. This is what you're trying to achieve. And what you're trying to achieve is something, and then you different tactics to do so. And the tactics are buying properties and doing this and the other. So on the strategy side, on what you hope to achieve as a property investor, is there an income you're looking to chase at some point in time? Is that how you framed your property investment goal?
There's an income that we've got and a cap base that we want to get to as well. So we set ourselves a 5-year goal, and it's the capital base to get to about 5 million.
Yep.
And start then looking at where we can pay down that debt. Got a end goal of a passive income of sort of 500 a year gross, which is quite high, but aim high. And
what do you need in terms of the value of unencumbered property to generate $500,000 a year in income?
Well, we need to. Well, the structure is at the moment is to get to the 5 million cap base and start paying the debt down at around about 8% yield on those properties. So it's quite high yield, but the structure that we're going to go for, also the strategy that we're going to go for, and that's being able to manufacture the equity, so not buying limited properties like the Port Macquarie one, is actually buying properties where we can add the value to.
Okay.
And I think, that's achievable. It's tough. Well, it's tight, but it is achievable. I mean, obviously there's a lot of hurdles now we're starting to see with lending and
True.
Property prices and so on. So that could change really, but I think if we can stick with our goal, we're in a good position, very little debt and personal debt, good incomes, no dependents, we're renting. Now's the prime time to drive forward.
To make hay.
Yeah, exactly.
And this goal that you have, is that something that you've worked out yourselves, or has someone helped you actually crystallise that goal?
Doing the Steve McKnight apprenticeship. So I get a mentor that I speak to regularly through that, and he sort of keeps me on check of what we're needing to be doing and what we're focusing on, and getting the admin right. And,
Have you got that goal written down anywhere? Is it on your fridge or something or other? Or
it's in the study room or the spare room, I guess, and also on the spreadsheet. So it pops up, and I'm constantly checking it and playing around with numbers. And
do you reckon you're getting there? Are you sort of on the right path now?
I think we are. I think we've got. Well, we've got about a 1.3. I think that the properties. I mean, it's very early, so very.
So the value of your properties at the moment, 1.3
on paper. And the debt's around about sort of 900 grand. So
so your LVR of
still high,
type mid-70s, right?
Yeah,
is that right? Yeah, quick maths.
I haven't looked at the LVR yet, but it's still to be honest with you, it's too early to get excited.
Accumulation phase, right?
Exactly.
You're in the sort of pay down phase. So, you and your LVR will be reflective of that sort of over time, and what happens to property markets and all that sort of stuff. But what's going to happen to property? Do you think, are you worried about the market at the moment?
It's interesting.
Sort of.
Well, to be fair, when I was in Europe, I deleted Twitter and every bit of social media because just reading it was like Armageddon. All of a sudden, it just blew up with all the negativity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think what we're doing is obviously streamlining personal debt. Keep going with work. We've got good serviceability.
What jobs do you do?
My partner, she works for one of the banks in IT,
Yep.
and I work in IT recruitment.
Okay. All right. So you make pretty good money. That's if people need IT people now.
Yeah,
recruitment's a tough job, right? But if you're good at it, you make good income.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 12 years, same industry.
Do you get paid mainly on commission, do you? So
basic commission, yeah.
Is that a big driver for you? So do you sit there thinking, if I just put one more phone call in to try and place another candidate, that's another commission check, and therefore it's more money in my back pocket so I can buy property? Do you link the two?
You have to, yeah. You got to drive yourself. The company we work for is not a heavily micromanaged company, so you've got to drive yourself. The money's good. I still enjoyed the job.
Yeah.
Sometimes, being depending on people for every part of the process is quite frustrating, but and mainly it's contractors that I deal with. So, you'll put them out for 12 months on a project. So the income comes with the more contractor base that you build, and the commission builds up. So it works well. I enjoy it, and it's a means to an end. And it's not.
So it gives you cash flow, right?
Good cash flow. Yeah.
And the banks are obviously happy to lend against your incomes. You haven't reached any serviceability threshold yet?
No, we're not even near that at the moment.
Okay.
So they said partner works obviously for one of the banks, so we get
you get preferential mortgage. So you don't use a broker, then you go direct to the bank.
No, I haven't used a broker yet. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, we're starting to get to the point with, do we want to put all our eggs in the basket with one bank? But I have spoken to some brokers, and they said the deals that the bank are offering you at the moment with a discounted interest rate and the sort of 90% LVR without any LMI and all the other benefits and the account management, they said they can't beat it.
Can't beat it. Well, there's got to be a point in time though where whoever that bank is, and imagine it's one of the big four banks, will turn you off at some point, going, nah, no more money for you, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you'll need to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, and if you go elsewhere, would you use a mortgage broker?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just I think they're the best people to find us the right deal. I've spoken to a couple, so I'm always sort of trying to network around and see who's out there, and you hear new names on the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think of the podcast?
I love them.
Yeah.
I mean, they've opened up doors for me. I probably wouldn't be as far ahead as we were now, without the podcast, because
that's
they're
good
motivation.
Did other than this one, what other ones do you listen to?
So I listen to the Smart Property Couch.
Okay.
They're good. They're more about obviously the mindset and the, your personal debt and, managing yourself. And, whereas this, you get more of the sort of day-to-day property investors on there. So I like it. You get the true case studies.
That's cool.
Property Investory, you get the sort of superstars in the property on tell their stories and so on. So they're all the good makes, and they all add value in a certain way.
Yeah.
Like I say, they're good for listening to on the big one.
It's good. Is there anything that annoys you about the Smart Property Investment Show? Is anything that you hear us talking about? Anything? Oh no, that sucks.
I like the regular market updates you do, and the chats you do with your buyers agent, Steve Waters.
Yeah. What would you change though if you were running the Smart Property Investment Show? What would you do tomorrow to make it better?
Probably maybe get some more of the sort of property superstars. I think they're the sort of motivational level people, but I like the hearing the
I like to keep it real.
Yeah. I mean, we're all at the end of the day, we all have to go to work and so on. So I don't think there'd be much change if it was anything. I'd say maybe a couple more of the big names in the market.
I can do that. I can bring them in.
But you have had some on before. So.
Yeah, they do. And they like coming on. They do like coming on. So we like to mix it up. I'll do that. Gavin, I'll get some of these get some of these guys and girls on who. And the good thing is around property investment is everyone's happy to share what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
it's a good sector to be in that regards. That's good.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever really opened up to a stranger on what we've been doing. So
we're not strange. You've been listening to me for.
That's true. Yeah.
Is it? What do you reckon about coming on the show? Would you recommend it? It's not daunting. It's pretty easy, isn't it?
There's a little bit of nerves in the stomach, I guess. You don't know what to expect.
What's the toughest question I can ask you that you wouldn't want to answer?
well, you probably did. Where could I be in 2 years from now? But or what would I think of myself 2 years from now? I don't know how to answer that. But
you'll think about that when you're on the bus home going,
I'll email you with the answer.
Just a bit of self-reflection is important.
No, it's very true.
You need to actually, you need to self-regulate, I believe. So it's good. You're doing a lot of the stuff that's right, i.e. knowing where you're going now, having a plan, having a purpose. You've got the tactics in place now to go about doing that, but you got to check yourself because no one else is going to do it. You're responsible for yourself.
That's right.
That's the biggest problem I think a lot of people make in property investment is that they either outsource responsibility or they don't invest in the responsibility themselves. And when stuff goes wrong, they'll blame everything else other than themselves. It's only really yourself to blame if you're not doing well in property. You can't control markets, but what you can control is which markets you invest in. So there's no reason not to be educated. And to your point, education is key. Get educated before you do anything, but don't over-educate because there's a lot of people come on the Smart Property Investment Show and I'll ask them a question around sort of, what's the worst thing you ever did? And they go, I spent too long educating myself and I've never really made a decision on doing something. They'll spend 2, 3, 4 years going to seminars and never find the perfect property, right? So
they procrastinate.
Procrastinate. Just getting stuck with procrastination. So
we have a rule in our relationship: no procrastination.
No procrastination.
No,
straight in.
Yes, straight in. Yeah. Even I think the mentor that I work with, Steve McKnight, he's sort of tried to hold me back a little bit, but.
How long is it taking you though to pop the question for an engagement though?
Not long.
Sounds like you've been procrastinating.
Yeah, I did it in Paris outside the Louvre. So the old romantic. Probably a year and a half.
Yeah. Did people clap on the street when they saw you do it?
I took it to the far corner where there was no one else. So I was a bit nervous then.
That's cool.
But so we did it over there.
When's the big day? You got to sort it out yet?
Just set a date yesterday, actually.
Okay.
So end of August next year, back to France.
Back to you're going to get married in France.
Yeah, so where the parents are at the moment, their neighbours, even though it's farmland, probably about 10 minutes down the road, own this lovely chateau that they let out for weddings.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do.
They're looking after you.
Yeah. My girlfriend's South African originally, so she knows how to negotiate hard. So I'll just let her do that.
Fair enough. And have you started the frame yet? The cost of wedding of how many properties you could buy with that deposit?
I'm doing that from the last holiday we've just had, really, but. Yeah,
that's cool. Nice one, Gavin. I've enjoyed the chat, mate.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
I don't know what else we want to cover. I was gone for a bit long. What is it? Sort of 30 minutes or so.
Time flies.
It does. Yeah, cool. Well, let us know how you get on.
Yeah.
Come back on when
love to
get a few more properties under your belt, and I want you to come in and tell me what you would have done differently from this point today.
Okay,
so,
all right. I'll bear that in mind. Thank you.
Nice one. And like Gavin, I think Gavin one of the guys here, Todd, one of our podcast producers, contacted Gav through Gav's all right. You're right with Gavin. Gav via Facebook. So if you're interested in coming on the show and just sharing your story, it's good fun. I enjoy it. No one investor is the same, and all investors, myself included, come in very different shapes and sizes. So I think it's important for all of us to share our stories, and we're all in it together in terms of we're all trying to create wealth through property, so that the more informed we are, the better decisions we'll make. So if you want to come on, contact the team, editor at smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, or just sort of contact us on Facebook or wherever else, what other social stuff you're using, and we'll get in touch. If you're not subscribing to our daily morning market intelligence newsletter, so you're the first to know what's happening in property and property markets across Australia, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au/subscribe. You can just go to the website if you like, just smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, or like us on social media, just search Smart Property HQ. Please, and Gavin's going to do it, 5-star ratings on iTunes. You haven't done it, even though you've been listening for 18 months. You never left us a review. That's a shame on you.
I promise I'll do.
Shame on you. I'll be looking for it.
I'll only review my one.
I actually look at them all the time. So I look at them every day. So it's really cool. And a team here really gets a big kick out of seeing people enjoying what we're doing. So please do that. I'd appreciate it. And we'll be back again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.